Welcome to episode 4 of Korea Talk. With us are the usual Sam and Peter, and joining us today is going to be Jacob. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Jacob Wolf, better known to some people as Braille. I write for the Daily Dot, primarily reporting stuff on NA and EU-LCS, but have previously and will in the future write about Korea and China and, yeah, more analytical stuff. So,
Good to hear. Well, let's just jump right into the games today.
Jacob,
we had...
Jacob
Yep.
took time from his schedule of arguing with,
Yes.
not forcing LCS team owners to release statements that, jeopardize their brand to come on to our little show. So thanks for that, because when he's not killing esports, he's going to be here saving esports. So everyone wins, really. Not killing LCS. How does it feel to blackmail people, to be a dirty journalist? How does these things how do you sleep at night? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to fucking know.
hey man, how does it feel to be an e-girl?
Oh, well, feels great. Feels amazing. As does everything in life. Let's go.
Dirty esports journalism is fun, man. Come on. Clickbaits, article views that I don't even get paid by view.
Just making
The
up
average
stuff.
life. The average
Oh.
life of a daily esports journalist. So
Yeah.
Okay, well, now that we have that out of our system, and the ridiculousness that I had to update my Twitter feed, it had to update twice of load more comments when I was on a 2-hour flight. It's like, oh, load more comments. I'm like, wait, it's only been 2 hours. So click it, load more comments. I'm like, really? It's been that many? So that was fun to see my feed explode.
tweet deck, friend. Tweet deck.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'll leave it on my work phone only. So let's go right into the games of Spenu versus Najin. What a spectacular 2-0 that was. Anyone have specific thoughts about whether Najin looked good or just Spenu was that bad?
I think that when I watched the series, I felt a bit better about Najin overall, because I think even though they were playing against an opponent that almost will kind of literally give you the win on a silver platter, I've seen Najin throw it back in their face before. I'd be like, no, I don't want this win. I want to dive into 5 people as my AD carry. I want my top laners to just split push all game and don't actually take any turrets. I don't want this win. And they took win, so you can't fault them. Everything, that there was no real big mistake or anything like that. So it was good to see, and I did think that, you know what, Najin did definitely play better in this series, and you can't take that away from them.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. They played cleanly. Goong again played something different again. He played Victor, so at least trying to expand his champion pool. It's nice. They looked good, and that's all they had to prove. They didn't have to be a slugfest, because otherwise, it was going to be very disappointing seeing Nigel like that.
And especially when you consider that the series they played against Samsung later that week was really key for them, so they couldn't go all out on prep against this Bennu team. It wasn't like it was their only series, but they came in with a strong plan of how to win, executed their comp well, pretty cleanly as well, especially for Najin, and demonstrated some really good individual mechanics and outplay and that kind of thing. So it was for me, I enjoyed watching it, but then Najin were winning, so I always enjoy that. So
You just like it for watch.
but sometimes I can watch, that series with the Gauntlet where Najin beat KTB, then KTA, then SK Telecom T1K, and go to the Season 4 World Championships. I've watched that 15 times now at this point. Sometimes when it's my day off, I'll just put the series on, and then in my mind I'm like, and then they went on to go do well. That's all that happened. That was all that happened.
So
It's not watch those games. That's all done.
You don't watch their inevitable defeat at the hands of OMG.
I just forget that part. That part never happened for me. No,
And Cloud9.
was that they did really well. They won the gauntlet, which is a big tournament career. Didn't result in going to any other tournament. That was it.
The miraculous balls ult from Rumble.
Yeah,
Made it in. Alliance rip.
Save went on to go have a great career in China. Goon went on to become a really consistent player who expanded his champion pool well. Zephyr, fuck knows what he did, mate. And it was just that's what happened, mate.
Steffa joined the military and started to lead them on terrific tactical play.
it was good. But no, Najim vs Bennu, not the most kind of important game to watch. Obviously, the danger is when you play Spenu, it's because every team beats them. If your team doesn't beat Spenu, you're really kind of, you're really pushing it right there. And Najin lost to Anarchy, so you know what? There was a chance they'd lose to Spenu as well. Both teams are equally shit.
I think the Spenu roster is still kind of, I wouldn't say new because they've been around a while just in Korea in general, but since this is their first time LCK, it is kind of interesting to watch them because it's rapidly expanding your sample size of games you have for each player and like data, and I don't know. I vein spotted a lot that first game. So I was not too impressed by Spinu, but the first win especially was really clean by Najin. I guess the second one was as well, but the first one was just, yeah. Goon step up and killed everyone, so.
Yeah, see, I had more questions on the second game. What did you guys think of Watch's Lee Sin and Goong's Victor?
I will say this, just because there's a cool just because there's a cool Lee Sin skin out does not mean you need to pick Lee Sin just to demonstrate how cool the skin is. Like, clearly I hadn't practiced Lee Sin an awful lot. Like, he landed some cues, but like, it wasn't like, oh wow, this is amazing Lee Sin player. It was like, oh, that's alright, this is Lee Sin. Like, ding ding ding, let's go. Like, that was about it. I enjoyed the skin more than enjoyed the play. So he says that.
I kind of understand why he picked Lee Sin, but I don't really agree with it. Because if you look at your bans, you have Gragas and Evelyn that got banned out by Spinu. They picked Rek'Sai first pick. He had to pick something, and picking Sejuani into Rek'Sai is a little bit suicidal because you can't match his early game pressure or her early game pressure. So what can? And I guess that is Lee Sin. Don't really agree with it, but I guess that was probably the thought. So.
Yeah. Lee Sin is their backbone if they need something aggressive in Korea.
Yeah. Part of it will be as well, when you play against a weaker team, you need to kind of showcase some picks to kind of draw teams that are watching's attention away from more kind of key picks. So you won't go in with your best champions because you're afraid of kind of showing your entire hand and then getting smashed in a draft phase later on. So you kind of have to showcase like lower priority picks, hope for the best, and hope that you can still grind out the win and make it look respectable enough for a team to think, oh, Watch's Lee Sin's a threat, maybe we should ban that. Now that fucking dream died, but the thought was there. The thought was there, and that's what matters.
It was Cinderella Lee Sin.
Yeah.
It's not Watch's fault that Elise got nerfed so bad that she can't be played anymore. So
yeah,
I wonder why. I guess it makes a little bit of sense, but Catch values Rek'Sai a lot, and they banned Gragas both games. Spinu did it second game. Najin did it first game. I guess if you're wanting to play something aggressive, Rek'Sai's your best pick if Gragas is gone. So.
Yeah, Grog is pretty OP champ, though. I mean, Grog is pretty dumb when it comes to how powerful he is from the jungle during this patch and still even in the future.
You can flash body slam someone level 3 in like mid lane and just get a really big advantage mid lane just by instant giving him with your mid laner. So I mean, yeah, he's probably the best jungler on this patch. So
definitely is.
And see, what Rek'Sai allows you to do is if you're not the best jungler and you get caught out, but you don't like die, you can just ult back and be like, "Hey, round 2 for me to screw up and get caught again."
That's awesome.
So, moving on to the next game of that day was another spectacular team playing another team was SKT versus Anarchy. I have to say the only surprising thing here was that Anarchy was actually still able to win a game.
Versus Faker. It's Faker's
Yeah,
first-
Faker, all
first-
3.
Well, I think that it mostly Wolf. I mean the bot lane. I think it was mostly Wolf that they totally shit the bed in game 2, and
Even Bang did.
yeah, Bang as
Arguable.
well. Partially. Also just their picks in the mid lane. It kind of SKT wasn't exactly sure what to play against them, and they tried Orianna and they did pretty well. Game 2. But then the third game, Ari, I think like even though he had Faker went 4-1-5, you noticed how it wasn't really effective that much, and that the Victor was a real power pick of that series. Like every time one of the two got Victor, it was just way more. You saw how much stronger it was than the other picks. But yeah, Martin was super huge in game 3, so it didn't really matter that the Ari wasn't too effective in a way, but. Yeah, that series mostly noted me how the bot lane from SKT just fucked up sometimes a bit too hard, and if Faker doesn't get a very strong champion like Victor, it's harder for him to carry because with Ari you're so much weaker than other champions, high tier champions you have right now like Cassiopeia, Azir, Victor, that you need your whole team to work together. She's still somewhat effective as an assassin, which is way weaker than other picks. So if the whole team doesn't step up, then it's not that easy to just straight out to win the game. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say.
I feel like putting Mickey on Victor was a good idea, but I also like the matchup where Anarchy won. It's kind of known as a counter Vayne into Sivir. Just because she really can't spell shield too much of your stuff besides your condemn.
Yeah, that's super hard
Which-
to time.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I guess every other region I've seen play that matchup, it can really go either way. But I don't know. The Vayne Xingyu just looked pretty good on Vayne, and they had the PL to support him, so kind of worked out for them. So.
Yeah, Sayun's been picking Vayne pretty often, which is a bit surprising considering Mickey is usually the main carry of the team. But it was very interesting to see those plays. Anyone else have thoughts on Orianna or Ari in the current meta?
I feel it's always the Faker test. You want to see if a champ's viable, put Faker on it, see what happens, and if he doesn't really carry on it, then it's probably not that viable anymore. And I don't know, like Orianna maybe in a very particular comp, but Ari no, just because it's too punishing. Like you miss the charm, that's it. Champ's useless. You don't get both part of the Orb of Deception. Champion's not going to do that much damage really. Like her, the Foxfire is so nerfed and she's so ult reliant to do damage. When a lot of the time you just need to use her ult to reposition herself in a team fight because the range is so low that you're it's too punishing to play really and too ult dependent for me to kind of be a properly viable sort of tier 1 mid laner. It's probably like quite a low sort of tier 3 kind of pick these days, and is only played because of how comfortable certain players are with the champion. But I mean, to talk about some of the Anarchy players, like I think that Mickey has improved a lot from when he was on World Elite Academy in China. I think he's playing a lot better than he was there. And Lyra as well is a player who really could do with being on a better team because he at least tries to make stuff happen as a jungler, and I respect any jungler who tries to do stuff like that. But I feel like those two have some could have a bit of a career going on after this. I don't think Anarchy is necessarily like, a hopeless roster. I just feel like the talent is spread too thin for them, really.
And it's also the fact that they focus that much on streaming. Like, they don't really have any drive necessary to become a really top team. They just go and play the games, but like they try their best, of course, to win. But I don't think they have the most motivation to really try and become a top three Korean team. And they just more like do it because they made it in right now. There maybe some players will, but the whole lineup, I never see them being motivated enough to, or good enough, even skilled enough to go anywhere high in OGen.
Annoyed they're not playing CV Max, the original top lane god as well. That pisses me off. I fucking love CV Max, and you know what? We're not gonna fucking play him. Fucking point on over him.
Yeah, we definitely want more of the CV Max. Holy shit.
So, if you were to replace a player on Anarchy and it's not the top lane, which player would you replace from the AD carry, jungle, or bot? And why?
Probably Sang Yoon.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like he does a lot as an AD carry. He doesn't position particularly well. He doesn't do a lot of damage. His champion pool. He doesn't seem particularly comfortable in any champion he's picked, really. He's played Lucian 4 times, Civiv 3 times. Like he's played a lot of champions, but to like levels of success. Like, you know what? He hasn't had a game where he stepped up. And when your team's doing as bad as Anarchy's is, you kind of need to, you're looking at individual performance at that point. And yeah, I feel like, because I think that Anarchy will probably drop into 9th place by the end of the season and probably will face relegation. I don't feel like they're, particularly kind of set to re-qualify.
So you think IM is going to be above them then?
I am in Samsung Galaxy, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe barely. But
Yeah.
should be above.
I would say to the original question, Singing or Snowflower, one of the 2 bot laners, they don't have nearly as much impact as the rest of their team,
Snowflower
honestly.
had one really good trash game there. And they have fallen off there.
That was it. The Alistar and Jana games left much to be desired compared to other Korean sports.
But when you're looking at like a bot lane that's underperforming, you need to say, well, what part of the, try replacing one of the elements and see if that forces the other one to improve before you just kind of gut the whole thing. And I think that Anarchy should definitely experiment with trying out a new ADC. You must be able to get someone. It's not like Korean talent is that fucking dry. There must be somebody in all of Korea.
It's not NA, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think. Not pointing out NA, but I don't think Anarchy is necessarily looking for different talent right now. I mean, they are just that team that just sticks together for now.
I definitely think they'll lose Mickey or Lyra or both by the end of the split.
Yeah,
so,
that's possible.
Well, if they don't make it back in, yeah.
Well, even if they make it back
in,
I mean, it can just be Polo, I think.
I would say I know there is one AD carry that a specific Korean fanboy named Kefka likes to hype up, but I don't think he would leave his current team in the Challenger Series since they're most likely going to be the #1 Challenger team.
No, yeah.
Are they still called winners?
Yeah, they're still called winners. Yeah.
Okay.
Irony.
Yeah.
The losers from last time, still the winners, are going to try and become the winners this time.
It's one of those names that's cursed, isn't it? Like calling your team like if you call yourself amazing, you're probably not going to be that great. If you call yourself winners, probably not going to win that many games. Like your name doesn't instill enough fear. It just makes them think, "Fuck you, confident assholes!" Like beat the shit out of them.
So you threaten people saying they're going to meet their maker, and then that all happens.
Yeah.
Then you meet your own.
Damn.
So, I don't know if there's anything much else to point out for this year besides if there's one game to watch, I would still suggest just watch Marn kill everything in Game 3.
Yeah.
It's just like, His damage is ridiculous.
It was so fast, was insane.
in the post game thread, the top thing is Anarchy trying to stop Martin in game 3, and it's a water hose being sprayed in fire, and the fire goes under it and burns the hose.
It's pretty true. They did so much, and he would just like, oh my god, the equalizer damage is unreal.
Yeah, if you sound
He just didn't care. They couldn't stop him. He built Deathcap Leandries, and then freaking Sork shoes, and just pinned everyone and ran around like a monster. Like.
Now we get to move on to Thursday, which was a fun day of an actual quality game, and then a game that shall not be talked about. So let's talk about IM versus Spenu, right? That's the great game, right? No. So let's go with KT and Ku.
To be fair, like KT versus Ku was not like it was very It was so similar because both games were but both games were exactly like this. Like KT like really didn't show up in that series, which was a very big disappointment.
But it was supposed to be a game that was interesting, a set that was interesting.
Yeah, but they were continuing their genius drafts from last week, this week, by going, I don't know, triple tier and stuff. I mean, double tier.
Yeah.
I don't even know. And poke is one of the one things that can actually beat this new Ryze, because if you don't get near him, he can't kill you with his room prison chain. So that helps. So. Yeah.
If he can't get near us, guys, he definitely can't kill us. That's just poke him to death.
Exactly. So it was such a brilliant strategy.
What are we going to do?
Not just that, but
don't worry, that'll never happen. He'll never get behind us, boys.
He'll never
Did that
touch
count?
you.
Who is gonna help Ryze? Like, who's gonna get up in their face with Ryze and do damage, or who's gonna protect Ryze with nails? That comp just seemed doomed from the start.
I know. The moment I see a fucking Nunu when you have a Ryze top lane, I'm just like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Like, you just pick anything aggressive. You can pick Lee Sin, whatever you want. Camp that top lane, get your Ryze ahead, and GG, the game's over. But no, they just let Someday get tower dive like two times or so. I don't know, you know what? But he died a lot.
They let Ku pick Gragas, and they didn't pick Rek'Sai. That was, yeah. I think it would have been a little bit different.
That game.
No, it was left untouched. I think if they would have picked Rek'Sai instead of Nunu, they probably could have backline dived to both of them and maybe gotten something. Got the bar, so the Corki.
The reason for that has to be is Score confident on Rek'Sai? Does he feel proficient on it? I mean, surely if he did, he would pick it, you know. But
yeah,
I feel that
Rek'Sai's not hard. Like,
yeah, but I feel like KT's issues are that Score still doesn't seem to me like a natural jungler. He still very much for me feels like somebody playing an off role. So he'll have occasionally good games and stuff like that, but his champion pool is still limited. He still doesn't seem like he's got that jungler instinct of being in the right place at the right time or anything like that. He just feels like somebody is like, prefer ADC, and then I was like, fuck your shit, and he's like, alright then, guess I'll jungle, guys. And he's like, no one flamed his feet.
Whoa. You say his jungle pool is not large, but the man is the only person in the world playing Rengar right now.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that, and it's not a good one, I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
Like in this game as well, I wasn't sure if like Ku Tigers had really returned to form because, you know, it's like that argument about they just went back to what worked. But is that a bad thing? Because what worked before was made them the #1 team in Korea and possibly the world, and then the fact that if they can just get back some confidence, then, you know, then maybe they can transition to new strategies later on. But right now they need wins, and they need them fast. And this got them wins in a series that I like a lot of people had predicted to go in KT's favor.
Yeah,
so that was a logical prediction.
Honestly, I think that it's a good thing that KT did, or that Ku did that. I mean, if you look at Ku and Jin Air to a similar extent, they kind of got destroyed when Cinderhulk came in. And to be honest,
Yes.
Cinderhulk was like, wow, this made it to live? Like, the original Cinderhulk was surprising. It was allowed to be in the
Right.
game, and then now that it's been brought back into line, you can see that this is kind of them showing our strategy still works now. We can play poke around Cinderhulk and still win.
Rice made it to life. I mean, just says enough right now. What the fuck? I don't know what Rice balance team is doing, but I mean, you got Rice.
Balance.
You got Rice now, so whatever.
I usually expect this at like the winter, right when the new season comes out. You usually have like those, oh wow, yeah, totally forgot about that, guys, because they changed so much. But well, they were able to beat the Rise by simply having a team
Damping
comp that can't win with Rise.
Yeah.
And like there was some other good points as well. Like Kuro really performed, really played mid Varus like really well. He landed some really nice piercing arrows, really good ultimates. He was aggressive as fuck in lane. Like it was really good to see because there's been a lot of talk like, oh, why is Kuro still on the team? And should they look at replacing him as well as Lee? And it was good to see him kind of like reassert his dominance and because I still think he's a good player, and he had that really bad final game against Izuhun when he got wrecked.
Yeah.
But it was good to see him actually start wrecking people again and really be really sort of expand upon that, because he plays a kind of supportive control mage style. It was good to see him expand on that idea, be the great enabler, but also be quite happy to kind of step up when the time comes. And I think he did that well. So I think if you're a Coup Tigers fan, it's a good time for you right now, because this was a good, promising series from them, I think.
The whole week, really.
Yeah, it was a good week.
And
So
not a
moving
big
on to
fan.
game 2, though. Yeah, go ahead.
As well, always fucking good to see that. Love him, love it.
I was not a big fan of the Corki pick, but it served its purpose in game 2 more than game 1. Gave them up from magic damage so they could play Vardsmith, who's AD. So
Yeah.
Praise the fantastic Corki that I think he can make it work in any meta. Really, he's incredible on that champion. So I
he's got
think
enough poke.
yeah, he can poke with it, whatnot. Yeah, no problems. Ku played the game really well, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really think Corki is the best with Varusmith, but there's that good synergy of both having poke. Like you have two types of poke. I prefer more like Sivir or something actual damage dealing later in game, but I mean it definitely worked, and definitely in game 2, because otherwise you cannot play Riven into that, and you have like zero magic damage.
At least it's
Go-
not mid Varus and Vayne.
Oh god damn it, dude! Not that. Yeah, that's horrible. Let's not talk about Midfairs and Vayne. No.
Okay, I say the last thing to really touch on game 1 is that Smeb got the 8-minute Abyssal Scepter and still almost got 1v1 with the Rise that had nothing but mana items. That was fun. But game 2, I think, was a lot more interesting in how it was played out, except the fact that we had a couple weird picks on both sides, but coups were seemingly a lot more thought through.
Yeah, Ku's picks were really clever. Like you just picked a new Karma. Well, old Karma did the same, but with all the changes they just gave her on 5.10. She just is so good for extra disengage, which really helps with that Varus Corki comp, because you can get the fuck away if they get too close and just keep poking them. And Riven versus Rumble, it's just you can't do shit when you're playing Rumble in that matchup. And Swap is so good on Riven that he's always gonna be ahead in CS, and if you let him split push against Rumble, the Rumble's gonna die. So yeah, they're forced to then group up, and then you just can use the Varus poke and stuff, and Swap can always just clean up or draw attention to himself, which he does really well. Like his Riven play is like insanely good. Actually, Ku's comp I really liked it in game 2. It was even better than their comp in game 1. Though it's a bit annoying playing Varus mid with no Rumble top lane. That's risky, but they made it work.
Does anyone want to see Lee/Hojin come back, or is everyone pretty happy with
No.
Wisdom now?
He, like we said, he really didn't get the Cinder Hulk memo, so kind of.
He was shit
Kinda
before.
don't-
He was shit before Cinder.
He wasn't.
Said that
He
before,
wasn't.
great team, so it didn't matter.
I don't think he was that good. I agree, but he really didn't have to do too much when he could play things he was comfortable on. So now he's actually being challenged on top of not being good. So it's like, yeah, let's get someone else. So Yeah, I think it's working out.
And
Well,
Tiger's shot calling looks a lot better with Wisdom as well. I think
It-
I've heard that Wisdom's meant to be like quite a proficient shot caller. So I think, and I am shot calling suffered since he's left. So I think that really he's, even if he's not the best jungler in the world, I think it's that argument of, well, if there's some kind of shot calling to this team, then it's clearly, it's a step in the right direction. And his synergy with Smeb is better as well. Yeah, I think.
Well, I would keep
it's not
Lee
bad.
there in case J4 and Lee come back into actual meta picks again. I mean, he was pretty dominant on those two, but he definitely did not pick up on the Cinder Hulk at all.
Close.
So as a last point before we move on to day 3 and the next interesting games, I would say just going on the Ari point again, is with mid Varus you could really see the issue with Ari is that continued to get poked out of lane and fell behind, was never able to really get the power spike at level 6 or get anything going early. And then you had Draven and Draven bot lane, which was not
Good.
Arrow is like
Yeah.
profound to be a good Draven player, but man, I don't like his build. Going Infinity Edge first is so greedy. Like you have no lifesteal. It's so destructive if you just go Bloodthirster because nobody can kill you and your Axis deals so much damage, and then you just get that first kill and start racking up more damage. But his Draven is really like the third time, fourth time this year that he picked it. I don't know, but it's really like stop picking it, Arrow. Like stop going into that old past where Kakao just where you could pick that when Kakao just carried you. Like I don't know what that whole shit is with the Draven.
KT, I think, definitely need a new AD carry. I think that is something that they've needed even since KT Arrows. I think they've needed an AD who doesn't fall 50 CS behind in lane all the time and who can, confidently position in a team fight and whatnot. And just don't think. I think their playoff dreams are kind of dead with Arrow on the lineup.
Yeah, I think that.
KT have I think this series highlighted my issues with KT always, and why I always felt uncomfortable, uncomfortable saying that they were a top 3 team in Korea, because I just don't think they have the talent on their lineup. I don't think the team is sort of good enough. Nagane is, an all right mid laner, maybe top 3 with how sort of weak Korean mid lane is in some ways, but he didn't get good champions, so he did nothing. In fact, he had a really poor series for Nagane. He's that typical, he'll play great one game and he'll play fucking shit the next series. And someday doesn't work on carry top laners. He needs to be on a tank in order for him to do anything. He needs to be on Maokai or whatever. But Arrow he can't carry games and he'll lose games quite happily. And it's just, he needs to be replaced really badly, I think.
Yeah, I mostly noticed that, but then against the Anarchy series, I noticed it even like their issues even more for me. How Arrow just literally just loses game by having no damage, and they're so reliant on Someday and Nagne to carry that it's really bad if you have to rely on your solo laners when AD carry role is often more a carry role than top lane. Like you shouldn't have to. You need to be AD carry to be a backbone, and their bot lane is really not. It's not good enough to keep up with the rest. I don't see them going. They'll probably still make playoffs, but yeah, they're not gonna do well in the Gauntlet. Not like this, at least.
They won't perform well in playoffs, I don't think. Won't do anything.
No.
Nope. Honestly, I think Fixer was a nice band-aid for the bot lane for a while, but yeah, Arrow is the biggest disappointment in that team when it comes to who should go out first.
You can put a band-aid on a wound, but if you don't actually heal it, it's just gonna keep pushing out, and you're just gonna have to keep replacing the band-aid. So yeah, that doesn't work.
Okay, any one-off thoughts about the IM Spenu besides the fact that it makes you cry that you have to see it again next half of the split?
I don't want to be reminded. No, I just showed again how bad IM was because they lost actually a game. to Spanu. Well, I think CJ also lost the game to Spanu, so.
Yep.
But they did.
But Devour Fizz jungle. I think that'll help you lose very quickly.
That stuff was good after the first changes. Now it's not even good anymore. I don't even get it. You can just go Cinderella, get you be more effective than with the power. And he wasn't even farming. That kills me. Like he wasn't even trying to get stacks.
Anyone else's thoughts on that, or just move on to CJ?
Let's just go. Yeah.
IM for me are a bit like sort of like a Najin Junior team in the sense that you feel like I've said it before. You feel like the lineup could be good, but it won't because their issues are so large that like they fail at every opportunity. You set really low expectations for them, and then they even don't meet those. Like you think, oh well, at least they'll 2-0 spending. Oh no, that didn't quite happen, did it? Oh fuck, like and they'll like I don't know. It's just like the only incredible miracle about IM is how they consistently fail to disappoint you. That pisses me off more than anything. Because I feel like they could be good, I think Frozen's a good player. I think that Apple's a respectable top laner. And I feel like Tucson, is quite a smart player, but just shot calling and just tactical play is just fucking shit.
I think I said this last week, but my issue with Tucson is he seems like without Wisdom there, is that Wisdom would be the primary engage and Tucson would follow up.
Yeah.
Unless he was playing Thresh, and he can't play Thresh jungle, so he's kind of waiting for someone to be the main carry,
Yeah.
and he can follow up on any initiation. So I think that might be something holding them back when junglers have become more and more primary initiation on a lot of champions.
They need this old top lane main that switched to AD carry to come back and win the games for him. Put me in, Coach Paragon. Please.
Oh boy.
The dream.
No, they need Beckyu and his glasses to carry.
Hey, they once upon a time had Reignover, so
They did. And when he was called Game Over because that was what his play was like.
No jungler
Rhea.
will call themselves R because a name that begins with R, but because of Reignover. So Chaser changed his whole name because he didn't want to be the next Reignover. So just let.
That's how it is.
I like Reignover. I think he's really good now, but he was not good.
there was a time.
Yeah, just fucking shit.
Yeah, he was terrible. So, our second game that was supposed to be really good this week also was not that fantastic. Was CJ versus SKT, where Faker just did Faker things and played fucking Master Yi mid lane.
Dude, I love Morgana solo laning. Like, it is one of the most fun fucking things to play in the game because you just pin everyone and then put your pull under them and just watch them burn.
No,
It's wonderful.
It's not a good pick. So like that was the second game is SKT like styling.
Yeah,
And it was-
that wasn't even. Yeah.
I say if
Sorry.
you're gonna have it take an issue with the Morgana pick, I think you need to get your thoughts based in more reality and go.
Yeah.
No, the Master Yi is the bigger issue. Morgana at least was relevant last split.
Oh no, Faker could have played mid lane Teemo. That wouldn't have mattered. Hook was having a fucking nightmare. Like fucking 3 minutes into the game, he got full on gang club. Fuck's sake.
That's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone do something. Someone no, fuck. All right, I'll just get dived again. Then like, oh look, the Annie's here again. Can someone do something, please? Like, fucking running around on Urgot. It was fucking painful to watch Coco's never-ending nightmare. It was just
Morgana
it was
pinned me to a wall, boys.
he was just sitting there going, why didn't I take that Chinese offer? But unlimited potential one of his midnight. Why didn't I just take that offer? Like I stayed in Korea for this shit. Like
Well, besides SKT rolling, what did you see in CJ? that made you kind of like? Was there anything in CJ that made you doubt them, or is it just that SKT is so far ahead that they can just simply play pick your own adventure?
Oh, 100%. CJ played bad. Like the Nidalee jungle as well, that did nothing. Ambition got like insta popped like 4 times. Like
He once was a mid laner.
that brilliant quote where one of the Jin Air players said, "Ambition plays jungle exactly like he plays the mid lane." Is that famous? Like, well, wait, what does he mean by that? Like, he does, like, because he has these games where he just gets caught out for no reason and dies. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I'm sure he loved when when Nidalee came into meta. Just like, hey, revival at the mid.
He didn't even pick it up till like super
Yeah,
late,
no.
and then he immediately lost. And now it's not even great anymore, though. So I don't see where the pick
bad
came
against
from.
Cinderhulk.
Nidalee is only viable if your in-game name is Spirit and you're on a terrible team that you literally will carry 1v9 with that champion.
Or if you're like a fucking S tier jungler kind of thing, you can make Nidalee work. But Ambition is not an S tier jungler, so he should not be he should not be playing. No, it just shouldn't happen. Go to
The
school.
real question is anyone in Korea right now an S tier jungler?
Yeah, probably not.
Uh,
Maybe Chaser, maybe. Asmin.
See, the issue though is with Chaser is that you have to get him on like Chaser on a good day.
Yeah, it's not always true.
The issue is he's
I
not
just-
as consistent.
I just dream of the day, one day, when Spirit comes back and he replaces Bengi, and SK just smashes everyone, and it's uncontested, and no one can say anything about it.
No, I think that.
Do you have no faith in Tom?
No, I have faith in Bengi. Bengi is gonna win Worlds.
Again.
Again?
Yeah.
He's so sad.
I think that
They work well together.
fucking Peanut could be an S tier jungler.
Yeah.
He never gets any match time, so
You're not gonna see him. Right?
Hey, you let Watch play as many games as he wants to, because he is a terrific jungler and he doesn't need no man.
She's got no. It's I think Peanut definitely could be and I think that Tom could grow into a really good player. But again, neither of them get enough match time to like. Tom gets put into the wrong matches,
Yeah,
and it doesn't get him to put into any matches. Like if there's a time to use your developing jungler, it's now. It's now, SKT. Do it now. Not in the playoffs. Do it now, and they don't. It pisses me off.
Also, I think the biggest issue is when they play Tom. They often play Easy Hoon too, and it's like no. You play Tom with Faker because they make up for each other's weaknesses.
Tom and
Not weaknesses, but they make up for their own, the odd things they do. Like,
Tom has the same
Faker-
issue that Kane has on Najin, which is they clearly decided to pair Kane with Zephyr, and then Kane's just pissed about this. Like, why am I fucking paired with this guy? And Tom has the same issue. Like, why did I get paired with Faker? I like Faker. Faker's my guy. Like, obviously, if you get to play with the fucking best mid laner in the world, you can look a bit better, Bengi. Like, try playing with Easy Hoon for once.
Yeah.
No, Shy played well in the series. Though. He had a nice 2v1. Space looked like good old Space, not Space that started carrying games, but the Space from before that. Like, it was a bit of a shit show from CJ.
Do you think it might be even a time for CJ to start looking for a new AD carry, even if it's not this year, but for the next?
They should look for a new AD carry 2.5 years ago. Like, I think if there was a time that they didn't need to look for a new AD carry, it's now. Like, they need to look for a new jungler. That's what they need to find.
Yo,
I think they could replace.
whoever thought moving him into the jungle was a good idea?
Oh, he's had good games, but not. It doesn't. It's just the same thing. Like, I don't really agree with role swapping extremely veteran players into jungle because it just seemed like a move done out of desperation, not a move like kind of like this is a brilliant plan. Like, we need a jungler. You'll do, Ambition. Get in there, boy.
I think it's because they feel that they have map presence, probably, but it doesn't always work out. So
I think it's somewhat because, getting someone from solo queue is so much harder for in the jungle, so they rather bank on the talent they have, even though it's not that experienced. At least they know how to play the role. How it works in a professional setting, how to jungle. They don't necessarily have the best mechanics at it or know the right gank ways, but at least they know how it should work, and so they rather use a veteran player to have on their roster than trying to find a young solo queue jungler who plays mostly E and just meta stuff and just tries to 1v9 every game in solo queue. It's a whole different shit.
So who would you try to replace first then? Ambition or Space?
Ambition.
Really?
Yeah,
I think Space is the best he's looked in a while, and that's because he's not too challenged. His
See, I would say
competition
this-
isn't too high.
I'd say the same for Ambition. Is who else does he really need to jungle against? Just don't play champions that require more than a lot of skill, like Nidalee. Just put him on a few easier champions to play. But who else is in the jungle in Korea that's like, oh my god, he's gonna destroy him every game he plays them?
Well, jungle is a much different role than AD carry, though, because I would argue jungle is one of the hardest roles in the game, whereas AD kind of isn't. Not if you're half good at positioning.
it's one of the hardest mechanical ones, so that's
Yeah, but most professional tier players are mechanically sound at AD carry, especially in Korea. Even if they're not like some star.
even if they refuse
Yeah.
to ever build a fucking fan and answer on Sivir. I just look at his item build and I'm like, you know how much more damage you would do if you just bought an item that was 300 gold more expensive? No idea.
He likes the little sound.
To talk a bit about SKT though, I won't be confident about Korea in general or SK Telecom until a Korean team beats them this split, because you know what? I don't think that they've really improved from MSI. I just think the competition has almost weirdly gotten weaker, and I think that there are teams in Korea that can beat them, but until a team properly kind of shows them up, I've said it, I think the best thing that happened to Korea is if SK Telecom doesn't win this split, and at this rate they will win this season of champions, and it will, I don't know how confident I'll be for Korean teams going into Worlds, really.
Well, if I think about SKT into Worlds, it's like there are two major factors that can screw it up. It's like their bot lane just really shitting the beds. It's like what pretty much happened in MSI. Like half the games, Wolf and Bang were just getting caught and died all over again. And Marin not being. I don't even care about Bangy. Bangy is he'll do his shit, his stuff like good enough. He'll ward, and it doesn't matter. Like Faker Bangy, that will work out. That can overcome like even better junglers. Like I think they would even be fine against like IG with Ruki and Kakao. But yeah, the second thing is like Marin, because he is good, but he has those moments where he just thinks he's way better than he actually is, and then he just does stupid stuff and just dies. And
Pushes out without warding when he has
Yeah.
a ward, and there's one specific lane way for the jungler to gank, and he was recently seen near your lane.
I mean, if Faker gets to play all games, and the only thing that has to happen then is that is top and bot lane just don't have to like totally lose the game, and then I think SKT is quite comfortable to get far and win, perhaps. Or I'm still not sure about that, but I am comfortable in the team. They have enough skill to make it, but like it's sometimes just Wolf is really not on point. Bang in general is fine, but it's like Wolf and then Marin like he got like shown up MSI by Koro, like, and he should just realize he's not that good. He's not Duke levels good, but he's solid and he has good champion pool. But he should just accept that he's not like the best and just sometimes just lay a bit back and not try to win every laning phase he has and just let Faker and Bang take over sometimes, because he's way too aggressive in a lot of times, which scares me. But I mean, Faker is yeah, go ahead. I was pretty much done with my rant.
I read an article today that said Lion Gaming and Chaos Latin are better than Spinu. And I just cringed just slightly. So
Why, who?
Lion Gaming, the team that
Who?
played at IEM, the one that made Voto Season 4, and
I don't even
Uh,
remember them.
a Latin American team are better than Spin U.
Wait, aren't Lion in the Latin American team?
Yes, but another one.
Okay,
Chaos
good.
Logic.
Okay.
The one that went
I
to
was
the
like-
the wild card tournament.
Oh.
No.
They could probably take games off each other, but I would still say Spinners probably would win more games.
It's been-
Same article put SK above Spin U, which is debatable. So
Well, the issue
Spin-
with
I don't
Spinner is
know.
that they're still so new. You just wait until they fuck up and win.
Yeah, but
I just,
everybody does
How much?
but I still feel like it's Korea. Like you're not gonna put like a low tier Korean team as like a mid tier Western team, not a bottom.
Well, which SK were they saying? Like current SK or Spring SK? Because Spring SK I could
Current
see
SK.
that. Current
Current
SK could
Current
be
SK can't
losing
win a game.
in
Dude,
Brazil.
That can't even beat
Current
European
SK.
teams. Like,
Current SK hasn't got their first win IP bonus in fucking months. Like, they're still waiting for it. Need to buy some new champions. Like,
yeah, they actually haven't won.
Rip the
Have they?
nostalgia. So,
Have they
do you
been
guys ever
playing
know the
this
story?
week?
Wait, I don't think like. Do you guys ever know the story behind that? Kind of a side note, but
Why, what?
the reason that's a thing, the reason that Candy Panda's back and Inrated didn't get a boot.
No.
So basically, Freddy wanted to get the gang back together, quote unquote. And so he wanted Candy Panda back because Reckless and Freeze told him no. And then in Rated, like they were looking to replace him with Noxiac and keep Forgiven, but yeah, that they chose Candy Panda over Forgiven, benched Forgiven, and kept in Rated. So
look where that goes.
European roster moves, everyone.
Yeah. I heard stuff like that.
I just want to see Forgiven with a mid player, like someone that's not just a warm body, like someone that's not just like goon.
I cry myself to sleep every night that I think he was going to be on a team with Alex Itch, Mithy, and Nuke Duck.
Right.
So
Next series, come on.
I did a transition of making fun of Goong by comparing him to Fox and Betsy.
Next series, I'm gonna let that comment slide. Next series.
Why? Because you're so excited because Najin is looking like they're probably gonna make playoffs now.
Hey,
They probably.
Ryu wrecks Europe, yeah. Goong would fucking wreck everything in Europe. He'd fucking drink blood every day. He'd go from being like, he'd be a king, he'd live on a throne full of skulls, he'd fucking dominate everything. Next series, right? I'm not talking about Goong
Wait,
versus European leaders. It's not happening.
if Najin plays his top 3 this summer, will you bring the Amprag Twitter account back?
I
Will you
can't,
reactivate it?
can't delete it.
No, you can reactivate it.
It's gone. Not when you delete an account permanently. You can take the Amprag tag if you want. Someone can.
No, I
I'm
don't
not gonna do it.
Didn't they already do that?
Just rename it to Manprag. So,
I,
but yeah, so we have
Wait.
probably
I actually want to
Yeah.
I just want to point out how Fakers. Actually, no, never mind. We're gonna do that later. Just go on.
yeah.
Yeah, come on, man.
I'll say we can look at the second game that was supposed to be a terrific series that turned into a 2-0 was Samsung Najin. We all thought it was probably going to be a good predictor of who has a shot at trying to make playoffs versus
No.
Ku and Janair.
Yeah.
I want to catch in on this. I was the only person who said that Najin are going to win that series.
Yeah, you are.
Samsung going to win. Samsung going to win. I call
Oh,
it.
Whoa.
were you realistically going to say anything else?
Did
No.
I actually say Samsung was gonna win? I just thought it was gonna be. It was important who was gonna win that series. Who was gonna go big?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did say actually something was. Oh yeah,
I said 2-1 Samsung, so
I can remember actually saying something. True, I could have said that too.
Where is Samsung now? Where are they now?
Yeah,
Bottom of the standings.
in the ground.
Still making derps with their team comp.
It's really nice team comp. I mean, I think it's nice how Najin Gung is like somewhat expanding his pool, but I mean they make it work. Like every game, like they get something good for Gung,
See,
and he's effective. So that's nice.
I still
my
think
issue
they
with that.
bring a tank, but Goon is playing better
Yeah.
now.
That's-
He's showing confidence on champions that aren't assassins.
And
He's
no
still
more
good
Ari.
at assassins.
Yeah.
He's not playing
My
Ari.
issue with Goong is that
Look it up.
he was like he plays one of his champions. He played LeBlanc the first series. He played Zed the first game of the series, and then he goes on to a champion that is very heavily in the meta and gets rolling on it pretty quickly, and then he either gets rolling and does stuff, or you're just like, oh yeah, Goong was in that game. Oh yeah, I forgot because Duke just came in and like stomped everyone's dreams. But yeah, he actually had a surprising and was able, like, for the first time I was like, he can play a champion that is not one of the three he's usually associated with. So
Well,
I think the second game was very big for me watching him play.
Well, against Benny, he played Victor, and against Samsung, he played Cassiopeia. And he played well on both those picks. He still plays them a little bit aggressive. I still think he thinks he's an assassin. He's still a bit too trigger happy to flash in and stuff like that. But he makes it work now. You know, he clearly feels more confident as champions. No, I think Goon's fortunes are looking up. I mean, he should have. I still don't think he should be on the team, and I still think it should be Tank, and I still think it's bullshit that Faker doesn't get guaranteed mid lane spot, but Goon does. I still think that's annoying. But you know what? Goon's looking up, and he seems to be transitioning better into what his role should be on Najin, which is a side lane enabler. Because when you've got the best top laner in the world on your team, and one of the best AD carries in Korea, you know, and such strong side lanes, you don't need to go hard every game, Goon. You can just play a bit supportive, and he seems to be understanding that more now. So, you know what? I'm excited. I'm excited.
that's true.
Yeah, this is the series that definitely Samsung looked the weakest. I would say, where other series you see they could have almost won games, or they had a team, like they forgot how their team comp was to play the game out. This one, it did seem like they
Just
pretty much got beat up.
Yeah, which is not a good sign for them.
No, Najin beat them by like individual outplay, and then sort of had a strong tactical background to go with as well. They had a game plan going into every game because they obviously understood it was a key series for them, but their tactical play didn't really matter because their individual outplay was so high that, you know, just kind of took over really. It was good to see, I think.
That was funny how in game
Well-
one, Duke was actually just a bait the whole time. They picked the most OP champion in the meta, and it's like, okay, Duke, just go do your thing, and if they come for you, we get an inhibitor out of it. Like, he died every time, and then just like, oh, I have TP, I just come back to the fight. It was funny how they used 3 ults to kill him, and then he just comes back, TPs. They win another team
They
fight.
focused him way too hard.
Yeah, that was so bad from Samsung. I don't even know why they were trying. And they did it multiple times in that game. It was really funny to see. Duke didn't get MVP, but he was the MVP for me that game, just because he was pure bait, just running around on Rice. It's just so much fun to see.
Well, when the other two carries are deathless, it's kind of
Yeah.
difficult.
No, he didn't deserve it, but it was funny.
Duke is the eternal MVP for not going
Oh
to China.
yes.
He's the eternal MVP for that shit.
Yeah, Duke. I mean, we were just I was complaining that Duke was not even close to the other players in Korea, like on his team for MVPs. But the only person above him is OQ, because he got 2 MVPs within the past 2 weeks.
I think like Nudge and pretty much everybody got one, like, or except Pure. I think everybody got like 1 or 2
I don't think-
MVPs. Or,
Yeah, I don't think Pure has had one yet.
not Pure.
No,
Watch got some cool.
Watch just 2. Goong has 2, but I mean that was before Duke even had a single MVP, which is
Yeah.
a travesty.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, so I think there'll be the Naj and Samsung, depending on if Samsung continues to improve on the way they have of the second like split of this, the second half, will be another, hopefully, more interesting and better match to watch than what we saw here. But it definitely seems like the chances for Samsung to make the playoffs has just fallen apart,
Yeah.
and now it's pretty much going to be between Ku,
and
Najin, and Jin Air for the spot, the two
Cool.
spots.
It's pretty exciting in Korea right now because
yeah,
Ku, KT,
Yeah,
CJ Henthus, and Najin, and even Jin-Air, none of these teams are guaranteed to make playoffs, you know?
Nope.
And it's pretty exciting because,
yeah,
you know what? like, one of these teams doesn't get to make it. And who's it going to be, really? You know, Ku are on an upswing, Najin are on an upswing, Jin-Air and CJ and KT are on a downswing, but how long is that downswing going to last?
Jinner was it that bad?
Jin Air, I still think is a bit. I'd still be hesitant on saying whether they're back on an upswing or not. But I would say that it's similar to the last split where we had 5 teams with only 4 spots, and you had Najin looking into the playoffs last year. I mean, it may have not been as interesting as previous OGNs with the actual championships with like the tournament style, but it was very interesting when it got closer to the end. Some of the games that actually mattered between the teams near the bubble, but
Yeah,
hopefully we'll have something similar this time.
these wins, yeah, we just pushed all the bottom 4 really got pushed down this week, like really
Oh yeah,
decisiveness, like they all just got pushed like to the ground, and yeah, now it's just the top 6. Najin stayed in the top 6, which is nice, and yeah, the rest KT might just like even fall out of it. Like it's like if you would like say it right now, like I think like SKT is definitely in 1, and then
yeah.
it's very CJ is probably still hanging out there around 2, but then you have like Najin and Ku more hanging around 3 and 4 again. KT is KT's bot lane. So
Until CJ loses to a higher tier team, until CJ loses to a team that's not named SKT, I'm gonna be hesitant on like throwing them under the bus. They're still clearly the second team until someone else can beat them. So I still think they're pretty secure in their spot.
Play Najin and Jin-Air next week.
Oh,
They do, yeah. They have a big.
Don't
We'll talk
come
about that.
say-
We'll talk about that. So, the next game we had as someone put it, Penta Saturday. So
Saturday.
it was.
we had Ku versus Jin Air, and I was actually pretty disappointed in most of Jin Air's play, even though they did get 1 win.
Yeah. They got 1.
Jin-Air lost because they didn't play their best player, Pilot. They played, so that should be their best player. Became maybe the worst player on their team. Weird mid lane picks from GBM. He played Xerath and Lulu, and then what did he play in the 3rd game? I can't remember.
LeBlanc. He played LeBlanc.
LeBlanc.
Yeah, so the pick was better, but he's a good Xerath, but Xerath does not work.
Xerath is not a champion. Like that game was exactly what we've seen with the last 4 GBM Xerath picks. It's just what Monty said. It looks like a great Xerath game, but it did absolutely nothing for the team.
Yep.
Nope.
Like the first game you can just say Xerath and then move on. That pick, you can't do. You're so limited in what you can do with that game. With that.
But
Just like that. That's it.
There's a lot of good things to look at about that series. Again, from Ku Tigers, because Kuro performed well on a champion that wasn't Varus. My concern was, well, okay, he's playing well on Varus. Is that his only pick? Well, it wasn't, because he played well on Cassiopeia as well. And I can't remember what he played in the other 2 games. But he played well. He played like a side lane enabler, we know him to be. He roamed well. He had good pressure mid lane. Smeb performed okay on a tanky champion, but really well in his carry tops. Prey played champions that weren't Corki. He played like Sivir and Vayne. And, it was... They didn't also... I don't even think they really played that kind of that poke style they were known for. I think they kind of just straight up team fought them at times. And Ku Tiger's team fight still looks really good. Still looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I also have to say that Jin Air still seems way too hesitant. When if they don't have ultimates, They just don't seem to do anything. They need to play like an entire team comp where no one has ultimates, like with Karma and Jace and Rek'Sai. They just need to have a team that has no ultimate so that they will learn how to engage better
Shock
because
therapy.
they wait for every single like guys, my ultimate's not up, but we're up by 10k gold. Whoa. I know we're up by 10k, but we don't have all 5 ultimates. Like we might not win this dramatically. Like we might not 5-0 them. Yeah, I mean like 4 for 1 might not be bad. It's like well it's not 5-0. So it just seems like they will just sit there and wait for ultimates to come up unless it seems like a bit ridiculous.
So what he's saying is Najin's issue is that they can't close our game until they've taken all 3 mid lane, all 3 inhibitors, and aren't actually allowed to attack their nexuses by their coaches. And Jin Air aren't allowed to do anything until they've got all 5 ults up.
Yep. The Najin likes to slow play it, where Jin Air's just like, whoa.
Even this is a bit
Hold
fast.
your horses, guys. Najin's looking like they're ending these games a little too quickly. We need to slow it down a bit.
Patience is a virtue. Like, fucking idiots, go in. Patience is good. Like, be patient and we'll win this game. Go in. Patience. Motherfucker. Patience.
That's...
But no,
I was
wait.
glad that Gank by Mom got his Lulu with the almost 20 stacks of Magi's.
Jesus Christ.
the real tragedy of the series was that Jin Air did not play Pilot
Yeah.
because Pilot,
Yes.
is maybe a top 3 player in career overall and is playing really, really well every game. It's expanding his tactical play, his strategy. And again, he's looking better every week. And then they put in Captain Jack, who did nothing particularly. And
He last hit well in the second game.
He built a fan dancer. That's the only positive thing he did in the whole series. He built a fan dancer on Sivir.
But he lost that game.
Yeah, I
He
know.
won the game with a static shiv, which proves the point.
Shut up!
Static shiv.
Static Shiv overall, boys.
Shut up. Fuck that idea.
gotta get the lightning, man. The lightning.
But yeah, don't you know Captain
The
Jack
crit
has great
light.
spell shield?
Yeah. Yeah.
He can spell shield well. It's why he was put in, right? So, are we going to talk about the giant elephant in the room of Smeb's Riven?
We didn't even talk about Praise Gorilla. Praise Gorilla.
Praise
Well,
Gorilla.
we didn't talk about Gorilla's karma though, which
Well, no, I did. Well, last.
Well, I
series.
mean, yeah, the previous series it was played out a lot better. It kind of got countered with the ridiculous speed that
Yeah.
Sivir had with your ult and Lulu was able to put on.
It's not smart. It's a good thing to replace Sivir, but if you have to play against Sivir, Sivir's still stronger, and you can pop Righteous Glory as well. So there's no way Karma can disengage as well against Sivir. So it wasn't
Run
the
up.
greatest pick.
run up with your shield, put the tether on someone, run around in circles, win game.
The availability of Righteous Glory as an item really hurts Karma's viability because what made her strong before was the way that she could control the speed of a team fight, and now she can't do that so easily anymore. I still think it's an okay pick, but there are better champions. You could play Janna if you wanted to really control a team fight as a caster. And
My issue too is that it was Karma Vayne. Like, you're not winning that matchup.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Like, you walk into lane going, "Hey, we expect to lose and get spanked."
I mean, they did okay, but
Sivir Annie, never forget
Yeah,
the
I mean,
run
they
up,
did
the run
okay.
up, the stun up.
The downside of that lane was like, wow, they really played out of their mind to not get completely dumped in that, because that's what should have happened.
it would have happened if Pilot was in the game.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. We had Captain Jack, and he had some great spell shields.
Like always, game 3, Smeb whips out the Riven and wins the game.
It's so I get so happy watching Smash Riven. It puts me in a state of euphoria. Like,
yes,
I don't like that they discounted the tank plank pentakill, because that
that
was
doesn't
able to give us.
count.
Yes, but it gave us flame And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
after shot of him looking like,
Yeah, okay.
"What's the? Come on, really? He gets it. And me on Fiora. The only reason I picked Fiora was for a penta, and I don't get it, and he gets it on freaking tank flank. That is worth honoring it as at least a
Yeah.
mention, bringing it up every time that happens.
Sure. But it was really sick pentakill
Fair.
though. Like it was.
Oh god, yeah.
The team fight was so close, but Smap played that out so well. The way he disengaged first and then got onto the carries, and then we got on a blind to
I mean,
Rumble, I think. Yeah.
not that play aside, his ability to calculate exactly how much he can take with shields and jumps around and dodges is outstanding. Like he is always able to survive with just enough HP that he can come back in and just pop up a broken wings and stun. So
he is sick on that. I did mostly know. I don't know. I don't pay attention to Trace every fucking game, but I see him on Rumble like pretty much every week. He's just playing Rumble in every series. He's just playing Rumble. Like is he stuck?
Yeah.
on it? Like it's kind of it gets really predictable what Trace is gonna
I
play.
think he's played almost only Rumble. He has 9 Rumble games to split, or this like summer.
Yeah.
He has 3 Maokai, 1 Gnar, 1 Hecarim. And the only team games he has lost on, the only champ he has lost on, is Rumble. He has 44% win ratio on Rumble, 100% on the other 3 champions.
He's playing so much Rumble. I don't get why.
Damn.
And it's kind of predictable. And I think after what Smap did Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't know when it was. I
Well,
don't.
for a player who had was renowned for having a wide champion pool in the during the spring split or spring half, he seems to play one champion.
It's weird because he's not even like a really great Rumble player. Like, and now if you look at it, Marn and Duke, they're way stronger at that. It's weird.
Never forget Marin.
I played it. I find it weird. It kept coming back.
I don't know. It seems like Korea has a fascination with Rumble.
Rumble
this
is really
part.
Rumble is really strong.
That's true, but I mean, he does have counters, and it just seems like he is almost always picked every time, regardless of situations.
It's mostly because he is an AP top laner that actually works really well and can handle most matchups.
I just think
They don't really exist anymore, except for.
I think we need more Cinderfish in top lane
No, please.
to get rid of the Rumble.
Just don't do the Kelly Trolls where you build the Triforce and then you sit there with normal smite for about 20 minutes and then you build the Cinder Hulk.
No, if they need to copy Cinderfish, they should look to China, not North America.
Rarely do I agree with all of the EU people who say that NALCS is AIDS, but that was one of the games that I will wholeheartedly agree with everyone. So.
Well, let's just pretend that NALCS doesn't exist because that's the best way to deal with it.
Anarchy versus KT, though.
Oh, so yes, that's a great walk into is we have these spectacular games that almost remind people of the
NALCS.
death tolls. Yes. I don't know which game to go into first.
I just start game 1.
So many great
15
games.
and 2.
Sad.
Right,
15 and 2 Arrow.
Actually-
He actually plays a good game.
game 1 was actually yeah, they play Silver any all the time. To be fair, it's not really hard.
GG, easy, and all chat. Get banned by Light.
Mikey misses way too many of his piercing arrows from playing Varus.
I was
He did.
unimpressed by his Varus at all. So.
No, it wasn't good. I think
And-
Varus is nice in the meta, but you have to hit that stuff. You have to hit your Qs.
Yeah, this is the game they just dunked on Ixu real early, and just like never let them really do anything in the game.
It was a grudge match for Anarchy because Ixu was not good enough for KT. So they were like, "Oh no, we want some. We're going to bring back. We're sticking with Sunday." And if you're a top laner and the team says, "You know what, we're sticking with Sunday over you," that's gotta hurt. That's gotta fucking pride a little bit. So
Burning your soul. That you
Remember,
gotta-
they did have a top laner on that team called Leopard at some point, and they let him go. So what they're thinking is, if we let Someday go, he's going to change his name to something that's not terrible, and just break out and be amazing. So gotta hold on to it. Gotta hold on to the known quantity.
To be fair, some has good games
He
occasionally.
does, but he's no Duke. Which
I mean-
they literally was like worst trade ever.
Game two.
But is there a specific game you guys want to talk? I mean,
Well,
these games are
game
they
two,
weren't IM Bennu bad, but
You have to talk
Scores
about-
Rengar.
yeah.
Why did that even work?
Like, why does he pick it? I don't understand why he picks it. It's the second time he's picked it, and I just don't get what it does.
Comfort pick for him, I guess.
At least he didn't pick,
Didn't
or at
play
least he
at
didn't
all.
build Cinder Hulk on it.
No.
There
Thank
were no
God.
junglers banned. He had literally any other jungler he could have picked other than Gragas.
I wouldn't.
Styling.
But it wasn't styling. They had just come off like a horrible loss.
Well, they should have won, but someday refused to build damage until, it was too late to build damage. That was one of those. That was the Arrow game that like he did nothing. That whole
Yeah,
game,
he-
Arrow did
And
nothing, and Sangnoon just carried the game because he.
In
got
the
his-
end, nothing even mattered.
There's so much about this series that just was not. I just didn't understand it from the picks to the play. It was like, oh, Arrow's crushing, but he shouldn't be. Oh yeah, because they set up so many dives for him. Okay, game 2. Oh, Arrow went back to being Arrow, and from the KTA I remember so well. But he doesn't have Kakao to completely just walk through it and just like feed him as many kills as need be. And then game 3, you get Score playing Rengar, and you're just like, oh. I thought this was gonna be a one-off Score. I thought you're just gonna be like, "Hey guys, remember this champion exists."
It's the score Rengar is this like the Smev Riven, except that you don't want to see it, and it's not enjoyable.
Exactly.
So it's like in a
Yeah.
Rengar.
Still.
Because it's like
Yeah,
the
and Aaron goes,
Scores Rengar's like, okay, let's see what you're gonna do in the first 10 minutes. Oh, you did one gank. It was successful, but you did one. And now you're just gonna kind of ult and kind of like, do I go in? Do I go in? And then let your your ult invisibility go away and go, hey, I've got 5 stacks of ferocity now.
I can throw another bowler.
Thoughts on Kinnon's support? They actually won the game with it.
I think it's pretty solid, but they got ganked a lot in the beginning, so they kind
Yeah,
of fucked him
it
over.
works with Callista, but you just have to make it through,
Yeah.
to make sure you don't die early.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake, but no, I think Ken support is actually quite solid because of the CC
If you can get your enemy team to blow cooldowns on your support, all the power to you.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird that he builds haunting guys instead of going for his hourglass, but
Yeah, that was a bit.
yeah,
Cringe.
you don't have to build damage. No, it works fine with Callista because you can help each other out. It's easy to tag the pass the mark from Callista. I mean, the laning is quite
Okay,
well.
so-
They just got owned by ganks.
What was that?
The laning from Callista Ken is actually quite strong. They have to be careful for ganks. That cost them the early game. Also, Nagne should have won that game, but he's not Faker, so he didn't. He didn't win the game, and someday didn't want to build damage, so shameful. Game 2. I still don't know how they won game 3 that easy. Right. Tough. Alright, okay. Next topic.
Faker's Champion Ocean. Hey, Lamau.
Pinata. I don't know.
I don't know. He's played Irelia. He's played Master Yi. What?
He's at 10 champions, I think now. I know this
Jesus.
down. This split alone, he only played Victor 3 times. Everything else was a different pick, and he only lost on Oriana, which was a bit unfortunate. Well, wasn't really his fault. It's insane how Faker keeps. it enables so much for the team that Faker can just pick whatever he wants, and they have to put a lot of bans on the top picks, and then he can still whip out a number of other things that totally surprise you. I mean, like CJ did not see the E coming, and they were forced to pick Urgot, which Coco was obviously not very comfortable on, and yeah.
They must have had a champion they could have played instead, though. Like, they could have played Cassiopeia. Well, that's good against melee.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not saying he should have picked that, but it's funny that he did.
It clearly sent CJ into a bit of a panic in the booth, and I'm not quite sure why. I think the idea was, oh, you've got the stun on Yi, so you can just swap him into the team fight every time and then focus him. But, like, they didn't really ever get to team fighting because they just fucking ganked...
Everyone.
Yeah, ganked Coco so many times.
Cool. So
Yes, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but we can move into talking about Faker's Championship Ocean or Pick Your Own Adventure featuring Faker.
roll on random, basically. Roll on random Korean edition. So, I don't know. I feel like I guess the Irelia and the Master Yi were style picks, but what else he'll pull out, I have no idea, but I'm really curious. So
It's
So
just,
eventually he'll pull out something, try and style, he'll get beaten, and then he'll stop for a bit. That's the Faker way.
they play IM this week, so it's like
Yeah, okay, yeah, he'll play Fuel or something. That's the meme.
Malphite mid, Rumble mid.
Do you think him and Keen talk a lot, and he's just like, oh, whenever Keen's gonna play, I'm gonna play it like next week.
actually hasn't played many Team Champions. Surprising. Yeah. But SKT really seems to prepare those comps. If you saw that video about behind the scene thingy about the OGN mates, that they prepared that Aurelia pick, and probably that whole comp that they made with Master Yi must have been also prepared already. So it's interesting that they have time to just do that stuff during practice, just prepare like random comps and then try them out. Yeah, that's really not positive because SKT is really unchanced at all in Korea right now. It's a bit of a shame.
It's really sad because I don't know, like you don't really see much from them since Q fell off the deep end, and
But
I
cool.
don't know. Yeah, but are they as good as GE Tigers was pre IEM before Cinderhulk?
No,
They're back. Trust me, they're back. They're back, motherfuckers.
We'll see. I just
the
want
doubters will be
SKT to
silent.
have a challenge because SKT's gonna roll up at Worlds after getting first in OGN and just get smashed by Chinese teams.
No, I don't get smashed. They'll
I
get
don't-
smashed.
no,
If they play Faker the whole time, they'll win. It'll be fine. No, it's no. I think that we've got the second half to go yet. I still think
that's
that
true.
SKT will lose a series. I would, don't think they're guaranteed to clean sweep the whole thing. They've already lost games. They lost a game to Anarchy. The end is in sight, as they say.
I wouldn't be so positive yet. I guess it's gonna be hard for teams to just win this entire series of them, unless they go really trolling. Well, they do that all constantly. So yeah, all right, it's possible. Definitely possible.
Okay,
Can
so oh
you
god,
guys hear me well?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
I said
No.
big thing for Ku2 is that they live have a place.
Okay. No, we can't actually. You occasionally hear of some you say words, but then you go away.
Pinata forever. Pinata forever kill. So.
1 second. I'm just getting Pinata's thoughts here. This is important. Coup play terrible teams, so yeah, they can prob win.
They played KT and Jin.
Yeah, I think they play good teams.
They played
Maybe he's talking about next week, because next week they have a pretty easy week because they play
Anarchy and
Spending
Menu.
and and Anarchy. So they play. Yeah, he's right in the sense they play bad team. Yeah,
Sure. I mean, we don't think Ku's like top again, but
I do.
well, yeah,
They're back.
they're definitely back in a way. Yeah.
Prey will drink blood of the enemies. Smell
They're back,
of the
but
world.
are they back?
I'm not too convinced yet about Prey being Ku. I think Prey and the jungle is still a major issue for Ku. Though it's fine if Wisdom gets Gragas or something. Just have these.
At least they have wisdom now. Like,
Yeah.
maybe they'll be better with some time.
They are still
but-
really. They don't have that many different strategies right now. I think they can be exploited.
The exciting matches of next week, though, are definitely
CJ.
Jin versus CJ, CJ versus Najit. This is where we properly test CJ, because last week
Yeah.
we lost 0-2 to SK Telecom, and while they played bad, we can't judge them too harshly because it's SKT. But now, if they go 0-4, like, that is it. We know where CJ's bar is, and we know how good the rest of Korea is. That is the. If you were going to watch 2 series in Korea next week, that would be the 2 series to watch. CJ matches, 100%.
There's nothing interesting otherwise. There's really nothing interesting except the CJ matches.
Don't hype up the scene or anything, mate. It's not. We want people to watch it. You're right. You are.
Yeah, but I mean, like nothing like even like remotely high standard. It's all like top teams against bottom, or just
Yeah.
Samsung versus bottoms, which is not much better.
Ku has to win, according to Pinata. Ku has to win against Anarchy and Spenu to stay relevant. If they don't, their playoff dreams are pretty much fucking dead in the water. So they really need to pull out. Just don't shit the bed, and that's fine.
After what they did this week, I'm not that afraid that they're gonna lose against Penu and Anarchy. I mean, they might drop a game against Anarchy, but they're not gonna lose the series.
And the other exciting thing is we get to see how good Samsung are, because they only play bottom teams next week. So this is it. This is their time to start styling. And if they lose, then that's it. All that Samsung hype, fucking nothing.
Yeah. That's pretty much that for the playoffs and stuff, but I mean, at least they can still show they're the best bottom team.
It's good to be the best of the worst. It's good to be the best of the worst.
Something, right?
At this point, they can still fight not to get relegated, so could be looking up for them.
Yeah.
So, to run down, we've got Jin versus CJ. How do people think this one will go?
Well, if they play Captain Jack, it's probably gonna be easy for CJ. I think by this.
I think it'll be CJ.
Pinata says CJ because I think Jin still has too many issues. I'm going to go on a curve here. I'm going to say if they play Pilot and Sweet, they will win that series 2-1. It'll be close. It'll be a good series, but they will win that series if they play Pilot and Sweet. That is.
Yeah.
I think with Captain Jack and Che, they will lose, but with Pilot and Sweet, I think they will win. So it's almost entirely in your hands, Jin coaches. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I think you know more about League of Legends than I do, but make the right decision, mate. You can do it.
I think CJ's gonna win this. Pretty much what Pinata's.
Spenny versus Ku Tigers, SKT versus IM. That's pretty easy to predict. It'd be silly to not predict the obvious favourites. Anarchy versus Samsung. Like, I mean, if I think Samsung will probably win that 2-1 unless Mickey can go off.
Games. Doesn't have much. No, I think Samsung should be fine. Yeah, maybe.
KT versus Spenu. Again, KT these are a lot of matches that teams just need to win. Otherwise, they're a bit of a joke. CJ versus Najin. That's the next big match.
I think Nigel is gonna win that. I don't know. I just have if they keep playing like they did this week, I think that they have a solid chance.
That's the grudge match, though, isn't it? Like that's the oldest matchup in Korea. CJ versus Najin, the oldest, like the big one, like before SKT and before KT and before everything. It's Najin and Fire versus MIG, and that's the big one.
I think Nigel is fine. Like Gung is gonna get something he's comfortable on. Watch should just not pick Lee Sin. We'll be fine with that. And then I think Nigel can get that series 2-1.
Pinata says that CJ versus Najin will be 2-1 to CJ if CJ beats Jin-Air. If CJ loses to Jin-Air, I think CJ will drop to Najin 1-2. So basically, if CJ lose, then they will only lose more. But if they win, they will continue to win, which is fairly logical.
Tilt.
You know what? Like, I mean, I don't want to see 2-0s unless it's Najin. So we're going in. I'm going all out, boys. 2-0 Najin, easy win. Watch is going to rip Ambition a new asshole. It's going to be a good time for everyone involved. Pinata says, well, it is CJ, so they like to play game threes. That's true. They do always like to push it close.
To be fair,
He also said something about Watch not ripping anyone a new thing, but no, well, I'm not going to pay any attention to that.
so I
Watch is the Lord and Savior of the Korean scene, so it's fine.
World champ. No, it's not world champ.
He's the world champ. He's the inevitable world champion. You wait.
He's the inevitable world attendee. Will always be there every year until League dies. He will keep showing up. It's one thing.
Unless it is the Apple Watch that rips open Samsung's product asshole.
What?
I don't get it. I mean, I get that the Apple Watch, and I suppose you got the Apple Watch, and Apple's a place of Samsung. It's pretty weak, mate, pretty weak. Okay, and then the next series we've got is Samsung versus IM and Ku versus Anarchy. Samsung versus IM. I don't really want to bother making a prediction about this one.
Nah.
Go either way, really. Like,
think
IM
Samsung.
have better players. Samsung have better strategy. Who the fuck knows? Like, it doesn't really make a difference anyway. I mean, I'm sure it makes a difference to those teams, but
Relegations. Nah, I think Samsung should be fine with that. Hopefully.
Top Rexa.
believe in the top reps, though. Believe in it.
I believe in Gamsu.
It can't fail 3 times in a row. Nothing fails 3 times in a row. Unless it's...
Third time's the charm, boys.
Or Medlulu. So, yeah, I think that's... Is there anything else we want to do on the show? I'm about to take over as host temporarily. So.
Yeah, I know.
Can only say the next week. I hope we get to see Pinata's handsome face and his cam again. I'm missing his, cam girl shows. And anything else anyone wants to add?
Thanks, Jacob, for coming on the show.
Yeah,
Thank
big
you, sir.
thanks for that. Big thanks.
I guess I have to do shoutouts. I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got plugs to do. No one in esports pays me any money, so I ain't shouting out shit.
Shout out to the Daily Dot, Kevin Morris. Shout out to all the cool people that read my stuff because you guys are awesome. So, yeah, it's mainly it. So.
In fact, I will give a shout out to Enemy Clerky for fighting the good fight against corrupt esports journalists to blackmail people on his birthday. What a heartless bastard. First off, you don't even have his birthday put in your calendar, and then you blackmail him on that day. I don't even send him a card or anything. It's disgusting. Disgusting. So yeah, shout out to Bellamy Collective fighting the good fight for poor LCS owners everywhere. And it showed a lot of character when we turned down that $1 million bid. Showed a lot of fucking character. You need to respect that, and then you're fucking placing esports.
Alright, on that note, I think we're gonna cut it.
Oh, but no, sorry. Shout out to Reddit as well for their unbiased and clear opinions and reasonable voice in all times. And shout out to Lolly Sports for providing the best League of Legends journalism